Hey, my name is Sheff, and up until last week, I was an instructor at the Art Institute of Pittsburgh online. I've been doing these videos of old master copies for my students as examples for extra credit work. So I have a bunch of them recorded, but I can't share them anymore because the school shut down. I started teaching in 2004, and now it's over. So it's been a pretty weird week. But enough of that. Let's get into painting. Let's do a copy of Anders Zorn. He's one of the Swedish painters that I think he's the only Swedish painter that I actually like. But to be honest, it's a relief to be done with school. I mean, I like teaching, but I hate grading. I think that the school failed just because there were just too many students who were not serious, you know. They were either lacking talent or lacking drive or both. So in that regard, if your portfolio sucks, then that's on you. And if you don't know what professional work looks like, that's on you. I think the school gained a reputation for letting anyone in who, whether they were good or not, and it just wrecked the school. You know, it ruined their reputation. And if the school has a bad reputation, that's hard to come back from. I mean, if art directors knowingly believe that, you know, that people who went to Art Institute were crap, even if you were a good artist and you went there, the reputation of the school is something you can't escape. So, I mean, I have students who were able to make it and become successful, but there were so many that didn't. I mean, you got to look at it like singing. I mean, not everyone has the ability to get signed to a record contract, and the same goes for art. There's no guarantee you're going to get a job. It's especially bad if you know nothing about your business. I mean, if you can't name one person who's doing your dream job, then why go into debt for tens of thousands of dollars, you know, on something you really don't know that much about? On the other hand, the curriculum of the school was really geared so that the only people who'd benefit from it were people who really already had drive and determination. I mean, you had to be really self-motivated. I mean, it's not going to benefit students who are just okay and had more excuses than finished pieces. I mean, I feel like, I swear to God, there were so many dead grandmothers, you know, and fake doctor notes that I've seen that, it doesn't matter, because I mean, the truth is, if you're motivated enough, self-motivated, you can teach yourself, you know, anything. I mean, you can teach yourself art on YouTube, just using YouTube. And from there, it's just mileage and practice. Then you wouldn't be in an ass load of debt. But in my opinion, art school is really pointless these days. It's just not worth the cost. And I'm talking about college. I mean, there are some that are good, but they're just, you know, astronomically expensive. And if the ratio is the same, that only the cream of the crop students actually succeed and make it, then you've got a bunch of, you know, kids who are just, you know, incurring, you know, buttloads of debt who just don't stand a chance. I think the easiest way to know whether you're at a good school or not is if you're able to see examples of your teacher's art. I mean, if you can't, then you're probably being ripped off. I mean, if they don't have a website or a web presence or no body of work to speak of, then they're probably worthless. I mean, if you can't see their art, then they're just all hot air. I mean, there might be some old retired cat who was, you know, done and finished with his career before the internet took off. There's always that exception to the rule. But there are so many professors in university who have degrees or doctorates in education and not art. These are the kinds of convoluted people who come up with stuff like Common Core and learner styles. I mean, they can't tell you anything about the business because they've never freelanced, they've never held an in-house job, they've never negotiated with clients, and they have no understanding of reprographic rights. So, in my opinion, you really don't need college. The value of college is so diminished at this point that it's really a waste of money. And I say that having a BFA from Art Center and an MFA from Academy of Art. I mean, you can get 85 to 90% of the experience you need on the cheap or even free. But you have to be a badass. You have to be broke as hell and seriously determined. I mean, if you need your hand to be held, it's going to cost you money. It's going to cost you time, but there's no getting out of that because you got to put the mileage in. You got to get the practice. I mean, the two things you're not going to get on your own are professional feedback and networking. But you can find those if you look hard enough. I mean, the problem is that as a beginner, you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know where to look. You don't have anyone who can tell you exactly where to go to get specific skills. But if you want to gain real skills cheap, you need to go directly to the artist whose skills, the artist who has those skills that you're looking for, and pay them directly. I mean, all the money that you paid in tuition went to rent on buildings and people in the back office, people in departments that didn't exist years ago, like diversity officers and bias response teams and useless shit like that. I mean, the price of education became 10 times more expensive, but it didn't become 10 times better. I mean, it got a little better, but not by much, and certainly not enough to justify the cost of tuition. On top of that, you have artists in other countries that got a lot better. I mean, artists in India might be making like $5 an hour when the average Indian might be making $5 a day. So knowing that, there's a fire under their asses of those Indian dudes to become good at art. Now, all those guys have to do is get up at 2 a.m. and answer a conference call with companies here in the States. But if a company can outsource an artist for like $5 an hour and he's equally as good as you or better, why should they pay you $15 an hour or more if, this cheaper guy in another country is better or just as good? I mean, just because you're local? Because they could hire 3 or 5 artists who are just as good as you for the same price. And if you're just average, you don't stand a chance. There's ways around it, though. I mean, you can slowly build an audience, find a niche, but those paths you need to find for yourself. You're not likely to get that in school, or you're not likely to get that from your teacher. Your teacher is shackled by the curriculum, like Common Core math. So the smart thing to do is find people who are doing what you want to do and copy their setup and process. This is the same research that you should be doing anyway when you're training. And that all said, you can find out, you can find these people whose work you admire and take that mileage and apply it to your work by studying theirs. Study theirs until you get the confidence and the ability to do your own work. So the smart thing to do would just, pick an artist and study that artist for drawing. Then find another one to study for painting, and another one for concept, and another one for marketing. And the guy that you study for marketing may not be an artist at all. But you do that same thing for every aspect of the business that you think you need to learn. If you think this advice, has saved you time and money, please like and subscribe. I'm going to try to figure out a way to make myself more available. I'm not sure if that's going to be Patreon, PayPal, Subscribestar, or Interface by WinHub. I mean, I may sign up for all of those services. But in any case, I'm going to be spending more time on YouTube now. So thumbs or subs, you know how it works. I'll be finishing this up in just a second. The rule I was basically following for this was just do as much as you can on one layer. Now, I did copy shapes and pull them to a new layer to resize, but then I would flatten immediately because you're going to get more mileage out of repainting over your mistakes than you will by hitting the undo button again and again and again. Learn to recognize your mistakes, learn to react and fix them, and just get better at it. Okay? So I wish you luck. Again, thumbs or subs. Peace out.